turned out. I don't want my heart to show. Two faces have
Well, welcome to DeepFakes. My name is Robin Saunders, and I'm the Director of the Graduate Programs in Communications and Information Management at Bay Path University. I also teach in the Cybersecurity undergraduate program at Norwich University. Many of you know me because I manage 3 cybersecurity websites that provide educational materials that are designed specifically to educate baby boomers and seniors. Now, imagine this. You clip on a news clip, you click on a news clip and you see the President of the United States and a famous pop star and even Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook, speaking. The dialogue is real. The news conference looks real. You share it with a friend. They share it with a friend, and soon everyone has seen it. Only later, you learn that the president's head was superimposed on someone else's body, or the audio was doctored, and none of this actually happened.
I'm sorry. I am sorry for making your lives difficult instead of helping. I'm sorry for being so addicted to attention that I end up dividing America instead of uniting us.
Now, how would you feel? For these fake videos, 98.8% are picked up automatically by the AI algorithms on Facebook, but unfortunately, 43.8 million accounts are not caught until they're reported, and all it takes is one user to spread this information before it's spread to millions. Camera apps have become increasingly sophisticated, and users can make anyone look amazing. You can replace teeth, you can put shark's teeth on a cat, you can make it seem as if your wives are actually hanging off of a cliff. Now, I use FaceTime with my granddaughters, and they love adding things like animal ears and sunglasses and tiny crowns. But it's pretty obvious that none of these exist, but it's very easy to do. Let's see if we can spot the deepfake video. Let's see if we can spot the deepfake images in this video. Those deepfakes were pretty amazing, although most of us knew that those weren't the real models. Let's see how all this works.
Some people used to mock former President George W. Bush, saying that he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. If you need proof, they could point to that picture of him holding a children's book upside down. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Well, actually, you can. And someone did. Here's the real photo. And this kind of trickery didn't start with Photoshop. Phony photos and doctored videos have been around for a long time. Check out this iconic image of Lincoln from the 1860s. Looks heroic, huh? Well, it's really only part Lincoln. his head to be exact. The body belongs to John C. Calhoun, who, fun fact, was a big-time racist and slavery proponent. This print wasn't outed as fake for almost a century. And today, we have so-called DeepFakes. DeepFakes are videos that have been manipulated using fancy AI technology. This tech can scale, rotate, or splice videos and images together to create new videos that can be very different from the original. And social media platforms like YouTube help to spread this kind of fake media, partially because of the ease and speed of sharing. But so far, they aren't really owning their big part in this era of deepfakes. Since according to the Pew Research Center, 85% of teens use YouTube and 2/3 of all Americans get at least some of their news from social media platforms.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things.
This fake PSA got a ton of media coverage back in 2018. Jordan Peele and BuzzFeed created it, reproducing President Obama's voice and image. While Peele's fake isn't perfect, it's good enough to freak out anyone worried about the spread of fakes in the near future. So in this era of deep fakes, how can you tell fact from fiction?
Now, I'm going to get a little geeky, so hang in there, and I promise that I'll give you a very simple explanation next. Deepfakes are named because they use artificial intelligence deep learning technology, which is a branch of machine learning that applies neural net simulation to massive data sets to create a fake. Yikes. All that means is that artificial intelligence effectively learns what a face looks like at different angles and then transposes it onto a target, which is usually an actor or a political figure. It's very much like putting on a mask, only it's digital. Now, deep fakes as we know them first started to gain attention in about December of 2017. It began with pornography, and it was easy to find pictures of beautiful actresses and superimpose their heads onto pornographic videotaped models, damaging their reputations and their personal relationships. Now, do you remember this famous quote from Winston Churchill? A lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get its pants on. Well, I'm not sure if you remember it because it's not a real quote. Beware of the fakes. The deepfake videos quickly spread when in January 2018, a deepfake creation desktop application called Fake App was launched, and it brought deepfakes to the masses. This application was developed by Google's AI division and released to the public in 2015. And what the software does is that it teaches itself to perform image recognition tasks through trial and error. First, the fake app trains itself using training data in the form of photos and videos. Then it stitches the face onto another head in the video clip, accurately preserving the facial expressions in the original video. Now, these technologies have been developed by online communities, and there are developers that are very happy to share their techniques, which only further accelerates the pace of the progress. Now let's see how this fake app works.
Though, free apps like Fake App make CGI face mapping a simple tool that almost anyone can operate. To drive this point home, here's a side-by-side video comparison of Princess Leia in Rogue One. One sequence was painstakingly made at a cost likely in the hundreds of thousands with the use of an insanely expensive computer. The other one was done in 30 minutes by an average guy on an average computer for free. Yes, there's obviously differences, but honestly, are those differences worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? The previous scene was done with a program called Fake App, and here's how it works. Say you want to swap the face of Lois Lane in the Superman film with the face of Nicolas Cage. The first step is to select your source video, then find a whole range of images of Amy Adams, who acted Lois Lane, and also a whole range of images of Nicolas Cage. All of these images together serve as the AI's training data. You don't even have to manually download the images one by one. The app has an automatic script that downloads all of the images at once for you. The second step is to get rid of the parts of the images that we don't want, like objects in the scene. When this is done, it's easier for face detection. The third step is just to let the AI do its magic. A neural network model gets to work learning how to recreate a given face from the images it has. Here's a snapshot example from within Fake App. The first 6 columns show face A being transformed into face B and vice versa in the last 6 columns. Within each group of 3 images, the leftmost is the original image, the middle image is the model trying to redraw the original image, and the rightmost is the predicted transformation. The network then outputs a score detailing the amount of error there is within the transformations. When the score is sufficiently low, congratulations, you have a good quality deepfake. Now it's possible to map one face onto another face in real-time video using just images. A video is just a collection of rapidly changing images at around 24 to 30 times a second, so this makes sense when you think about it. Technology like this cuts down the cost and effort by many orders of magnitude, putting powerful tools in the hands of the everyday person.
Now, it really is very easy to use. Most of the convincing fake apps have been produced using impersonators that are very capable of mimicking the source's voice and gestures. But there are now some applications that are actually used to create the voices. And replicating the voice has always been a problem. Now, if given enough voice samples, there are plenty of deepfake voice applications that can accurately deepfake your voice on top of another person's pretty quickly. About 1 hour of speech is enough for artificial intelligence to form an accurate picture of any speech pattern. It goes to show how easy it is these days to fake who you are, and the politicians and celebrities are the most common victims of deepfakes. Let's look at some of the negatives.
However, arguably the biggest danger we face is in politics. Politicians are on camera a lot, often in quite a fixed position, like standing at a podium or sitting for an interview. This makes them incredibly easy subjects for deepfakes. All you need to do is record any actor making the facial movements you want, and then you could map these onto a politician, altering the way they react or even what they say. And you might be thinking, so you'd still need a really good impersonator to match the voice well? Well, not for long. At an Adobe conference in 2016, Zihu Jin introduced Voco. This tool was basically Photoshop for audio. It uses a learning algorithm to analyze the speech patterns and convert it into text. With just 40 minutes of speech, it will have examples of almost every sound of that voice in that language. So to recreate the new vocal audio, all you need to do is type.
Now, the reasons that they use politicians is because their public profiles provide an ample source of material to the AI, for the AI to learn from. But remember, with the amount of selfies that an average person takes in a lifetime and the technological advances, perhaps soon you, or in this case I, could be used as a source. Now here's an example of a content that is not actually a deep fake, but an example of why the potential misuse has been so feared in politics.
Nancy Pelosi takes a drink and then starts speaking in a slurred, slowed down way.
I'm sorry, to do what? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
This is unbelievable. She's blowed out of her mind, a poster on Facebook writes. The video goes viral with more than 2 million views. But it's all a hoax.
Now, this really was Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. But the video was slowed down by 25% and the pitch was altered to make it seem like she was slurring her words. The video was posted on Facebook by something called Politics Watchdog, and it was shared widely, including by the former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who tweeted, "What is wrong with Nancy Pelosi? Her speech pattern is bizarre." Now, Facebook initially refused to remove the clip, but then it had it reduced to distribution after it was checked to be false. The post was later deleted, but it's unclear by whom. Now, in response to Facebook's refusal to remove the video of Nancy Pelosi, an artist named Bill Posters posted this on Facebook's own Instagram in June. It showed Mark Zuckerberg boasting of how the platform owns its user. Would Facebook react differently if the founder was being manipulated?
One man with total control of billions of people's stolen data, all their secrets, their lives, their futures.
In case you couldn't tell, this is not Mark Zuckerberg. The video is what's known as a deepfake.
Well, on the most basic level, deepfakes are lies disguised to look like the truth. But if we take them as truth or evidence, we can easily make false conclusions with potentially disastrous consequences. And as the technology has evolved and improved, the developers have been working on capturing audio to create deepfake voices. Now, passable voices can easily be added to deepfakes. Let's watch this video and see what you think.
Looks like we have a problem.
Yeah, leave it to me, okay? We're gonna squeeze him. Hadouken. Hadouken to your face. Are you wearing a big boy shirt?
Yeah, I probably never will again. Help. I'm gonna barf. You ever washed that wig?
You got me again, George.
Yeah.
Good one.
That is a zig.
Now, this deepfake video was created using AI and machine learning algorithms, but it can also be created using some labor-intensive video editing software. The creator is somebody known as bad lip reading. And he has posted a variety of political videos, and some are very convincing. Remember, deepfake audio can be used for all types of purposes, ranging from entertainment, like the video that you just saw, but also criminal activities. Now, how many of you would actually purchase this product?
Finally announced the Apple Handsome Anthony. Yep. Now, Anthony can take you to a museum or to the snow cone palace. But if he ever asks for Geppetto, then you need to destroy him forcefully first thing. It's vital, okay?
Now, there were actually people that went on the Apple website to find out if Handsome Anthony actually existed. Now, this is one of my favorites. Many of you have probably watched The Lucy Show, and you might remember it.
Hello, friends. I'm your body meat vegemin girl. Are you tired, run down, listless? Do you poop out at parties? Are you unpopular? The answer to all your problems is in this little bottle. Little bottle. It contains vitamins, meats, vegetables, and minerals. It's so tasty, too. Tastes like candy. Honest.
Now, most of this is done for humor, as you can see, but there is also a dangerous side. A lot of fear about deepfakes concerns politics. What if a deepfake video portrayed a political leader enticing violence or panic? Would other countries be forced to act on the threat immediately? Will these videos become so realistic that other governments will not be able to detect if they are fake? Seeing is believing, and it may be a thing of the past.
AI is making the manipulation of audio and video cheaper and more sophisticated. And as this AI becomes more open source, it's more accessible to more people who can then create more believable videos. This tech can do some pretty wonderful things. It can help you create awesome artwork and make some pretty good CGI scenes without a Hollywood studio. It can even add Nicolas Cage to any movie scene. Sorry, let that sink in for a second. And look, entertainment and satire are fine. Nobody wants to stop Photoshop battles on Reddit or get rid of hilarious memes on Twitter. But it's not all fun and games. This tech can do some pretty scary stuff. Once it's widely available, seeing is believing will be a thing of the past.
Now, with the 2020 elections in the U.S. approaching and a continued threat of cyber threats and cyber war, we have to seriously consider a few very scary scenarios. What if deepfakes were weaponized and they were used in the 2020 election to further ostracize, insulate, and divide the American electorate? What if weaponized deepfakes were used to change and impact the voting behavior, but also the consumer preferences of hundreds of millions of Americans? And what if weaponized deepfakes were used in spear phishing attempts and other cybersecurity attempts to more effectively target their victim? This means that deepfakes will put companies, individuals, and governments at an increased risk. Remember, Deepfakes can ruin relationships, they can become court evidence, and they can ruin your reputation. Seeing is believing, is what we want to think, but the truth is that believing is seeing. Human beings will seek out information that supports what they want to believe and ignore the rest. Our belief system is just a mirror and only shows us what we believe.
If we are entering into a future where anything can be faked, well, then nothing is going to be real.
Until recently, seeing was generally believing, while voters couldn't be sure a candidate was always telling the truth.
Well, I'm not a crook. I burned everything I've got. Relations with that woman.
They could trust that they did actually speak the words captured on video. The proliferation of deepfakes has changed that and could have a huge impact on how political campaigns unfold.
What happens when we enter a future in which we simply don't believe what we read, hear, or see online? How do we have a democracy? How do we agree on basic facts of what's happening in the world?
Now, capitalizing on the belief system that we just like to mirror and only think about things that concur with our beliefs gives the scammers a lot of power. We see this already in other disinformation, the so-called fake news, that creates deliberate falsehoods and then spreads it under the guise of truth. And by the time the fact-checkers start howling in protest, it's too late. The false information has been passed to millions of people who want to believe. This way, deepfakes get millions of shares.
Democracy is easy. It's like stealing ice cream from a baby.
I genuinely love the process of manipulating people online for money.
We just want to predict your future behaviors.
Now remember, we want to believe, so we look for content and are fed up by content online by the algorithms that conforms to our likes and beliefs. Our belief system is just like a mirror, as I said before, that only shows us what we believe. So, what can be done to fight deepfakes, and how can we recognize that the content is doctored?
There are some possible defenses, though none are perfect. The most obvious is to use the same AI technology to detect phony videos. People and organizations are developing detection algorithms, but these methods will usually lag behind the technology used to create deepfakes. But even with this tech, how do you know what media to test? Remember that Lincoln photo I talked about earlier? It was only discovered to be a fake when a guy doing research for his book noticed that his mole was in the wrong place.
Well, last summer, the U.S. House of Representatives Intelligence Committee sent a letter to Twitter and Facebook and Google asking them how the social media sites plan to combat deepfakes in the 2020 election. Earlier in the year, Facebook took a positive step towards banning the deepfakes. In January, the Vice President of Global Policy Management for Facebook wrote that the company is making new efforts to remove misleading and manipulated media. Now, Facebook is taking some specific two-pronged approach to flagging and removing the deepfakes, but for an image to be taken down, it must meet the following criteria. It has to be edited or synthesized beyond adjustments for clarity or quality in ways that aren't apparent to the average person and would be likely to mislead someone into thinking that the subject of the video said the words that they actually did not say. The second prong is that it has to be a product of artificial intelligence or machine learning that merges or replaces or superimposes content onto a video, making it appear to be authentic. Meanwhile, government institutions like DARPA, who is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and researchers at colleges like Carnegie Mellon, the University of Washington, and Stanford are all experimenting with deepfake technology. So is Disney, and the organizations are looking at both how to use the technology and how to combat it. So, before sharing anything on social media or to your friends, look at the technical aspects like lighting, mouth movements, and eye movements. Do you see some subtle differences? Do you see something that just doesn't look right? And in a non-technical way, ask yourself, who is the person that's publishing this information? Is the person reliable? What else has this person posted? And are the claims backed up by other sources that you trust? Never jump to a conclusion one way or the other. Never say, I looked at this and I'm sure it's real, or I've looked at this and I'm sure it's fake. Research, research, and research. Now, many Americans have lost faith in the news, and generally speaking, people are very, very sloppy about what they share on social media. So even if your best friend shares it, you should think about where they got it and who was the original source. And just fair warning, it's going to get worse. So don't be part of the problem. Become part of the solution. Research, look, and critically evaluate. Remember, seeing is believing is what we should think, but the truth is believing is seeing. So, as always, be senior smart and don't be duped by the fakes. Use your critical thinking skills and do your research.